Yo, what is going on YouTube? It is your boy GZTV back with another video. This is our second and last probably movie review of the week. We have the 2011 Spanish psychological thriller film directed by Jamie Baguero from a screenplay by Alberto Marini, which stars Luis Tosar alongside Marta Etura. We have Sleep Tight, another kind of one of those international films, a foreign language film. So it's super interesting to, get different cultures' approaches on the horror genre. I look a little tired. I am a little tired. I'm going to try to give as much energy and stay focused, lock in as much as I can with this. But hopefully throughout the day I wake up and a little more, and tonight's recap's a little better. But let's get into the plot, critical reception. You guys know how it goes. So the plot follows a concierge of an apartment in Barcelona named Cesar, who is on the roof of a building explaining his nature of not being able to find happiness no matter what he does or what good things happen to him. So it's really interesting. It's one of those he narrates it. It's like a voiceover, which is really cool. I like how shows do that. I liked when Dexter does that. There's a couple other movies that do it. It's you might be wondering how I got here. It's kind of one of those kind of starts because this happens towards sort of the end of the movie, and you're interested. It pulls you in a little more. Obviously, you're kind of confused with what's happening at first, but it's interesting. So, as he wakes up in Clara's apartment and begins his routine working in the main lobby, he gives hush money to teen Ursula, the daughter of another tenant. And it's super interesting because when he wakes up at first you think, oh, that's his wife. Okay, he has a wife. That's pretty cool. But no, it doesn't turn out to be the case. And for a lot of the movie, I didn't really understand what was going on. And I was like, oh, okay, he's got a wife and he's cheating on her. No, these are the same women. So it's obviously more creepy than it is a horror film. I wouldn't even call this a horror film, to be honest. And as you can see, it's the same people that did Wreck and Wreck 2, which we watched the first Wreck movie. So yeah. So Caesar visits his sick mother in the hospital, who is practically unable to speak to her son, but listens to him talk about Clara, and kind of gets a little uneasy because his son's pretty much committing crimes. It's fucking weird, man. So Veronica, another attendant, asks Caesar to take care of her dogs, giving detailed directions on how to feed them. Caesar ignores her instructions and feeds her dog Rocchio a slice of pie, which is obviously really bad for dogs. You can't give them sweets. So Clara, entering her apartment, opens up letters she's received, then tears them up and throws them all away. And it's coming from this mysterious, creepy person, which is Caesar, obviously, but she doesn't know that. No one knows who it is until they start kind of investigating, and they don't really know that Caesar's doing all this until kind of sort of the end of the film. Yeah. So while this is happening, Caesar hides under her bed, waiting for her to fall asleep in order to use chloroform to keep her asleep so he can maliciously mess with care product and ruin her day. It's so weird. You don't really understand this guy's motive because it's he's having sex with her in her sleep, literally raping her, while at the same time he feels, it seems like he likes her, but at the same time he wants to ruin her day. Maybe because she's not giving him the attention he thinks he deserves. I don't know. So the morning after, he sneaks out of Clara's apartment with Ursula waiting outside. She knows exactly what he's up to. She knows it's super creepy what he's doing. She demands that Caesar provide her with an adult film if he wants her to keep her mouth shut. It's like an NDA agreement, which is kind of funny. So, Caesar, working in the lobby, finds Veronica heading out of the apartment. He questions Veronica where Rocchio is, and she explains that Rocchio has terrible diarrhea from something he may have eaten, and I'm surprised she's not lashing out at him for feeding him some nasty shit. So yeah, I don't know, that's kind of weird. So Ursula, sneaking out of school, goes to Caesar's apartment and asks for the videotape and tells him that she and Clara talked about Caesar, and the price for her keeping her mouth shut will be €100. I don't know money. I don't know money translations, conversions, anything like that. So yeah, she ups the ante for the NDA agreement, pretty much, or the NDA. So Caesar is also angered another of the attendants by not taking care of the plants, killing them. And yeah, and it's like making his boss mad and all this type of stuff. Visiting his mother at the hospital again, Cesar says that he is close to wiping Claire's smile off her face, as his goal is to make his tenants miserable to make himself happy. So it all kind of makes sense. It all starts to kind of go together. Like, he's ruining people's day to make his own, which is obviously super evil and fucked up. But I guess that's how he's finding happiness. So the apartment cleaners are informed by Cesar that the office was not cleaned properly, which leads to the cleaner's son being in trouble. So yeah, but this was definitely Cesar's fault. He got in there, tried to take some shit, and yeah, whatever, you know. So Cesar, once again hiding under Claire's bed, uses chloroform on her to keep her in a deep sleep and begins messing with more of Claire's items and plants bug eggs in her apartment and all this stuff. Like, so now she's gonna have a cockroach infestation when she wakes up, and that's obviously not gonna bode well. She's trying to get her day started, and there's cockroaches everywhere. So, a couple of days pass, and Claire's rashes, which she has developed due to Cesar messing with her care products, have slightly gone away. Relieved for a second, she finds many cockroaches in her apartment and decides to stay with her mother until Cesar fumigates her apartment. Obviously, like spraying some chemicals, trying to remove the bugs, which he obviously doesn't want to do because he wants her to continue to be affected, but if that's going to bring her back to the apartments, sure, why not? It's so weird, man. So, yeah, she has those rashes. He's like putting nasty chemicals in her cleaning products, which is giving her like an allergic reaction, I guess. So the police get involved to figure out who is harassing Clara, and Caesar frames the cleaner's son, which leads to his arrest. So yeah, he gets arrested. He kind of takes the weight off of Caesar's shoulders, and he can continue to kind of continue doing what he has been doing, you know. So, yeah, harassing her, hasn't sending her letters. You know, she's been reporting of bad luck, but like people can kind of assume that someone's behind all this. So Cesar returns to Claire's apartment, and while hiding under her bed, he finds that she brought her boyfriend Marcos as well, which is obviously super duper awkward for him. He's gonna have to figure out how to sneak away. So, having accidentally been hit by some chloroform on his face upon the shaking of Marcos and Clara's fornication, Caesar makes a desperate attempt to leave the apartment quickly, but realizes he has the wrong keys to the apartment, leaving him locked inside. So he made a huge mistake. Now he has to pretty much stay there overnight, and he falls asleep in a place that pretty much gets her day started. So it's super duper awkward in the morning, and yeah. So Cesar wakes up in Clara's shower and begins to worry, as Marcos had found Cesar's sports bag and many suspicious items. So now Clara's maybe getting the idea, and they're kind of tracing like the IP address of the letters. It's someone in this building. So now she's getting extremely suspicious that it was the cleaning guy was already taken away. So now she thinks it's another one of the tenants or the workers or whatever. So Marcos catches Cesar trying to sneak out of the apartment, and now he has to develop an alibi. He is on the hot seat right now. So he explains his reason for being there. Deceiving them, he leaves the apartment and heads downstairs, only to find out he is going to be vacated because he's continuing to get violation after violation, and now they're like, okay, you don't have your job anymore, you gotta get the fuck out of here, right? So he's obviously in shambles because he can't harass people anymore. But yeah, he obviously develops a story, and they believe him, and Claire's fine with it because she has a good relationship with him, or at least she thinks. So Clara and Marcos are about to go on a trip and have to return, as Clara turns out to be 4 weeks pregnant. And there's a pretty crazy plot twist with who the baby is, or who the father is. Marcos is surprised, as he always used a condom when they had sex, and he's kind of in disbelief. It's like, well, that couldn't have been me. I used a condom, you know. So Marcos knocks at Caesar's place and asks him to check out Clara's apartment, stating there is a bug problem again, and he uses this as a guise. He uses this as an excuse to get Caesar right where he wants him. Caesar goes to check the apartment, but realizes that Marcos has caught on to him sneaking into her place and has found what Caesar has been drugging her with, found all of his products, found all of his stuff, realizes why he was in their apartment that morning, and yeah, it obviously doesn't rub over well with him. Cesar and Marcos begin to fight, and Cesar grabs a piece of glass and stabs Marcos' neck, killing him. So now he has officially committed a crazy crime. And now he's gonna have to find a way to cover his ass. And to do that, so knowing that Ursula knows Caesar was involved in Marco's death, Caesar sneaks into her apartment and threatens Ursula. But to hide the murder, he puts the glass shard in his hand, kind of puts it up here, and sticks him in a bathtub. It makes it look like a suicide, and obviously they sense that it is a suicide, kind of. So yeah, Caesar sneaks into her apartment, into Ursula's apartment, threatens her to never rat him out to guarantee that Caesar does not go to jail, and to guarantee her safety because he knows where she lives and all this stuff. So that's obviously not a good idea for her. He could easily lash out on her and attack them at any moment. So Clara has moved out of the apartment and had her baby. Caesar mails her a letter hoping that any time she looks at their child, she will think of him, and he thanks her for helping him finally be happy. I don't even know if he revealed that he was the one that did all of this to her. I don't know. I wasn't really comprehending the end for some reason. But yeah, let's get into kind of the critical reception, and then we can call this a video. So this is going to be a pretty short review segment. This is a pretty solid movie. It's pretty good. I mean, it's in Spanish, so it's kind of hard to follow along at times. At least there's subtitles, which is cool because it's kind of like reading a book. I know I've said this about a couple of horror films before, or just foreign films in general, but it's pretty solid. I will say it's not bad. I mean, Sleep Tight is designed to give audiences sleepless nights, and it mostly succeeds with that. It gives you an unsettling, creepy story, you know. The film is old school, simmering with Hitchcockian suspense, but even the most hardened horror heads will find its after effects hard to brush off. And this is a movie that's kind of hard to forget. It definitely cements itself in your mind. It's one of those films that is just so distinct and so unique from others, and I can really appreciate that about it. So, the film is a 5-star creepy stalker movie. I mean, Tosar and Balaguero were great. They concocted a Sweeney Todd, or kind of like a psychopath type of movie for the 21st century that people won't forget soon enough. I mean, the chilly film works at first, kind of. There's a couple critiques. I mean, Balaguer is so overtaken by his villain that he becomes like Caesar, displaying an eagerness to play the role of tormentor, which kills both the movie's pleasure and its flickering political subtext. So it's kind of weird. They almost become too involved with Caesar there. It's interesting. I don't know. I don't really have much to say. The only critique is the director becomes almost too centered on the villain. But anyways, leave a like, comment, and subscribe. I know that's not much. I think it's a really good movie though. I definitely recommend you guys check it out. It's good. That's all I'm gonna say about it. It's genuinely a good movie. So yeah, I was surprised by it. It's probably one of the better foreign films we've seen on the channel. And I'm out, guys.